Well, we finally made it. Appetite for Destruction all the way through is happening. I've done a couple of tracks already from it, but this is the lesson that really is one of the hardest songs on the album. The opening track, Guns N' Roses' Welcome to the Jungle. What an incredible track. There's so much stuff about this intro that is just wrong all over the internet. The delay pedals, the way that the effects are achieved, all of that stuff we're going to run through from start to finish. If you are a big fan of Guns N' Roses like I am, please subscribe down there and we'll help you out to get this sound nice and crunchy and nice and kind of Appetite for Destruction-esque. But let's kick in with that beginning and let's talk delay. So Slash has said in interviews before that at the beginning of this album, the delay effect was added post, so in the studio. So there are delay pedals that can create similar effects, but it's going to be very hard for you to make it sound like that given that it was done after the event of the recording. Having said that, I've got an effects pedal that I think is really good at a delay with a little bit of reverb added into the mix, which really sounds pretty effective. But just before we turn any of that on, these are the notes that we're going to be playing in the beginning. So just have a listen. That's it. And those are the only notes that have the delay pedal on. Loads of people think that the delay stays on when you're doing this. No. But let's start right at the beginning. I'll turn on the pedal here and I'll show you the effects that I'm using to achieve the effect. The effects that I'm using to achieve the effect. So this is a digital delay DD3T. I've got it running not in the main loop, so it's in the effects loop only, and the settings are showing up for you now. There's a little bit of reverb added into the mix as well, because I think it gives it the best possible sound. By the way, I think you probably would have guessed, but we're tuned down to E flat in kind of standard Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction style. Most of the album's in fact the whole album's in that. And the other thing to say is that this whole song stays on the bridge pickup here, so no messing about. So just have a listen now with the effects added in. Now you often hear when Slash is doing a live version of this track that he starts off by kind of going. And what I think he's doing is he's listening to get himself in time with the delay. And then he'll kick into it. And then the delay goes off for the next section, because otherwise if you leave it on it sounds like this. And it's an absolute mess. So let's get rid of that for the next section as we run it through. Get rid of the reverb as well, because Slash very rarely plays with any reverb on his sound. So let's run through this main riff with no delay. You've got to palm mute if you want to make this sound really, really good. So you're going to have to get nice and crunchy, which means using your right hand and sitting it across the bottom string. Okay, so this is the notes. Just forget the fingers that I'm using at the moment because they're going to change in a sec, but these are the notes that we're interested in. Now I'm going to palm mute it. Okay, so that's the notes that we're playing with there. Sort of B pentatonic scale, really. Very simple. The picking pattern is the next thing we're going to tackle. So this is down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, all the time. Okay, so here we go. So the only difference is, of course, the final turnaround where you get the... So you alternate from there, and then you're back. Which is why it's quite difficult, actually, because that little turnaround makes it a little bit tougher to get into the rhythm. The other thing I want to mention is the fingering on the left hand, which is not just playing it with third and first fingers, which would be easy, but it ignores the fact that there's a really cool slide in there. So the way you achieve that is by using Slash's fingering, which is 3-1, 3-2. This one. So that bottom part is done with second fingers. And then you slide with that third finger. Ah, see, I'm so used to playing it with the first finger, but it's wrong. You'll get there in the end. The other thing to mention is that there's 3 occasions where this comes round, where the riff becomes simplified and you just hear. So just note that in the tab, that's played without muting, so it's very kind of loud. There's no slides in there, so you can use the first and third fingers, and then you've got these 2 chords. So that's Slash's part, seeing it through. The other little bit of the intro that I just wanted to mention is the line that Izzy plays over the top, which is probably the bit that you would want to play once you've mastered this. Got it right that time. So pleasing. So the Izzy solo over the intro is like this. And then the next bit, I would recommend playing it up here. So that bit's quite cool with the parallel fourths there. And then you get this. So that little pattern is. There's one other little thing I want to address, which is that some people say that in the second time you hear this pattern, Slash repeats the 4th fret. Like that. I've listened to it probably a million times, and I don't think that's what's going on there. I think it does sound like that because I think there's I don't want to say that there's a mispick, but I think that you can hear it being played like this. If you listen really carefully, you can hear the left hand actually moving to the B. I think it might just be the fact that the B string was played again. So I think that's what's going on there. So just a little note about that, because I've seen some people recommending that you play that, which I definitely wouldn't do. Let's get into it then. So we're doing a 1st and 4th finger as a power chord here, and we're going to do a lot of sliding around. So I hope you're ready for that. So let's jump in. And this is the 5th fret. So you lift your hand on that open E to give yourself time to come back up. That's the 2nd time round. 3rd time. And then you've got these little patterns that come in every now and then. This is a really cool one with a harmonic. So give that a go. Pinch harmonic. The best way to achieve that, by the way, is to turn your right hand on the pick really almost diagonal when you're striking, so kind of downwards and almost at that angle to the guitar, and really drag your thumb. And then this is what I meant when I said the verse is played in a different way. This is actually how Slash mostly plays this part of the song. So it's kind of like a single note really, while Izzy Stradlin does the chords. Slash does it like this. And then the second time. And then it changes up to here with the power chords again. Sounds better quicker, obviously. And then we'll quickly go into the first part of the chorus before we stop this video and go on to part 3. So it goes like this. So C power chord, little crunches before, and then you hear this. But that's got delay and reverb on, which I suspect was done after the event again. As you can hear the repeat if I put it on for you now. Whereas the next part that's played by Izzy sounds like this. So this little bit is done in sort of first position or root position, whatever you want to call it, with Slash. Just make sure you do that up pick and the dead note. And then there's a pinch harmonic here. And then also there. So just make sure you catch that as we head into the second verse here. I'll run you through one of the little variations here, which is like this. It's quite a nice little one there, which I've tabbed out for you. The verse continues, second verse here, like this. You can do that with a third, second, third to replace the power chord, or you can even go the first finger. That's the same power chord sequence that we've done before, so I won't run you through that again. That's covered in a previous lesson though with the slides. And then we hit this bit again. They've got the delay pedal there and a little bit of reverb as we've discussed before, and then we hit this again. And then Slash does. Whereas you hear Izzy do. So you've got these diminished chords here. So let's just run through this again. So you've got the open, bottom string, parallel diminished, and then now you can do these all down picks if you want. And then you've got the next section on the next page of the tab. And then this slide. A lot of people play it here, but Slash plays it up here. And then we're going to jump up to this next really cool bit of the solo, to the slide up to the 18th fret. And then you jump down here. And then you switch positions here to this 10th fret. You can actually do these down picks as well. Make sure you do that pinch harmonic at the end as well. So let's run through those variations then. So we're still doing the single note chorus, which Slash does, and it sounds like this. And he slides in. And then there's this nice little pattern here, which is a right slide up the neck. There's also another guitar line, which you can hear below that. And then it goes something like that. I've just approximated it underneath because I know that Slash live always likes to do that. Then you're back with these power chords on the E again. With the delay and the reverb that we've talked about before, and then we have this. So Slash has a very easy time of it in the bridge. He just does the arpeggiated chords, so. It's Izzy who's doing these kind of cool bits. And he does this. He sort of alternates with Slash on this C note. Just a few little intricate bits here before we hit this pre-solo section where it goes like this. And then there's a slide, which I actually happen to have here. The A note goes up on the record, which is something that must be done in post-production, because that immediately links in with Slash going. So we're up here, we've done the slide on the 5th fret with the actual metal slide there, discussed in our last video. Now we're up here, 15th fret bend with the 12th fret as well. Bit of vibrato on that last one. And then we do this. That's the slide down there. And then you've got these two little dead notes before we get to the solo. So that 6th fret is a pinch harmonic. And then you use the first finger to move, the little 14th bend. And then you do these two notes here. Little bit of vibrato on that 4th fret that's there. And then this is a cool bit, jump up to the 6th. So you're using that first finger there. And then it's these two 2nd frets. So 2nd and 3rd finger. And then you use this 2nd finger to slide. I don't bother to pick this one. And then you slide up and then go to the 15th. Down to this 10th, which is crucial. And then you pre-bend and release. Really awesome section there. So one more time. So pre-bend and release by half a fret. And then hammer on. And then these two notes. So mute the middle string and just play the 2nd and 3rd fingers. And then we're going to do these descending bends here. Jump down to the 6th fret. Little bit of vibrato there. And then you've got this section that follows. Then you need your slide because you're going to slide up using the 4th. And then you hit harmonics there. And then this is where it's really interesting. So you've got your delay and reverb back on. And this is how you achieve the sound. I never knew it was done like this for a long time. You're jumping up to an octave above the 22nd fret. So up here. Do you hear that? So that's Slash doing that. You've got these little bent notes here which Izzy does, while Slash continues to mess about and go. Stuff like that, which is too much fun. And then you turn all that off, and then you jump back in once you've finished messing around with these little breakdown chords here. We'll just run through this bit and keep it going until we hit the outro. So it's all this speed. Then the notes change after one iteration if you're going to play all that bit that we've discussed. So you're going to do the 3rd, 2nd and 1st finger. And then jump up again. To do the next bit, the 10th fret here is how it goes. So you do 2 of them and then you go up to the 11th fret. And then there's this really, really awesome shape, which I'll just show you quickly. This is the diminished. So one more time, on the 8th fret. You've got to do that pretty fast if you want it to sound like the record. And then we're jumping back into these power chords. Same again. And then we've got it twice. And that all has reverb and delay on again, so that's another different variant. Back to the main riff. So this is the last iteration. Hendrix chord at the end. And that's it, we've done it. Welcome to the Jungle, Appetite for Destruction completed. I hope you enjoyed this series. Thanks for watching. We're going to run through the whole of Appetite for Destruction. So our next one, I think it's called It Ain't Easy. Not one of my favourite songs. In fact, it's very tough. That'll be our next video in the series of the Appetite for Destruction playthrough. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe, and we'll catch you soon. Here we are then with song number 2 from Appetite for Destruction, It's So Easy, written by Guns N' Roses and one of the earlier kind of iterations of the band, West Arkeen. It's such a cool track, and actually this one really benefits from just somebody sitting there and breaking it down for you, which is what I'm going to do throughout this series of lessons, just to make it a little bit easier, because this is one of the more overlooked tracks from Appetite for Destruction, if we're going to be completely honest. I mean, you're competing with, you know, Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise City, Nightrain, for example. This one tends to get a bit lost in the mix, but there's a lot that we can learn from this, particularly how to play some of the fast bits. Some of the awkward solo lines are quite cool once you've kind of learnt how to master them. So we're going to tackle that. I hope you enjoy this t-shirt as well, which I managed to get hold of. Although I ordered another one, an official Guns N' Roses t-shirt, but it still hasn't arrived, so we're going to have to make do with this one, but I think it's pretty cool. So we're going to kick in with the intro, which begins with a bit of Duff McKagan rocking the bass. Well, you don't start off with a bass line that often in life, but we're going to do it today. So this one begins up here on the 11th and 12th frets, so that's the kind of general vibe here. We're in E flat tuning, by the way, so tuned down to semitone. And before Slash really kicks in, this is the Duff bass intro. So use your first and second finger, I think, probably for ease, and just practice going. So using hammer-ons and all down picks. And the thing to do is to master the rhythm. So I've written it out for you, and it goes exactly like this. So quite awkward, really. It's 2 2 3 3 2 2 2. That's the pattern. So 2, another 2, then there's 3, then there's 3, then there's 2, 2, and then 2 again. That's how you rock the intro there, which is not really a guitar line, so if you can't do that, don't worry, give yourself a break. Slash's intro is quite hard. I thought it was going like this. And I was getting really messy, and I realised watching a few live videos that the essential vibe of the intro riff is an offbeat up pick, so it's... Now, on the record and live, sometimes Slash does it in the root position, but using a doubled first finger. But other times when he plays it live, he does it up here on the 7th fret. So what I'd recommend is for the first 2 bars, doing it down here as I've written out in text. So 8 of those, and then switch up here. And then you've got these power chords coming. And then I'm going to go into verse 1, which we're going to carry on with in this video, because verse 1 really is where the song begins properly, and there's a little bit of unusualness to it, so I'm just going to play it for you quickly. So it's a little bit tough in that you're using probably what I would call an unusual fingering pattern that you wouldn't expect to be using. So it's the 1st and 3rd finger down here on this B flat. I would be tempted to do a 1st and 4th finger. But the reason that you don't, and the reason that Slash doesn't, is because it's actually harder to play it like that. If you play it with the 1st and 3rd finger, and then you change to his arrangement of the G chord, it's easier than if you do 1st and 4th finger. So I totally get why he does it. So let's do it in his style. 1st and 3rd finger on the 1st and 3rd fret. That's an open string on the up pick, so... And then you're doing this chord. Forget the 1st finger, by the way, here on the 2nd string. You're going to mute with your big fat 2nd finger here. because it sounds less messy than if you do play that note. It gets a little bit fuzzy, whereas if you get rid of it, a little bit clearer. So once again, and when you're doing that E power chord here, well, four chord, I should really say E minor, open second and third finger, because that's what slash does, because then you can just slide up. It's a nice little change over there. So let's run it through. And this is hard. And then you're coming around again. Once you practice it a few times, you find it's not too bad. The actual hardest bit is going from the E back to the B flat. If you're not used to being that low and spreading your fingers out so far. And just worth mentioning the picking pattern on the right hand here. So it's down, down, up, down, up, down, down. And you can hit the top of that chord a bit more with the up pick. And then up on this open strings. So that's down, up, down, and then down, up. Back we go. Also, it's worth saying that the right hand can start to palm mute and to get involved and to make it a little bit more under control throughout the whole process. So I'm going to start adding in some palm muting now, just so you can hear the crunch that's coming. So this is two separate guitar lines, and unusually Slash is taking a back seat here. So this isn't really Slash's moment to shine, although there is some cool power chord chugging going along. So it's first and fourth fingers here with Slash's part, which we'll run through for the chorus. All down picks. Until you get to those diminished chords here. So again. So the trick to this one is to keep your left hand very light, very kind of loose in the pressing down stakes here. So just move it 5th, 3rd, 5th, 6th fret. So that's the shape, first and fourth finger. And then Slash comes down for this E power chord and just finds time also to play the 2nd fret before moving up here with this diminished. And then the fingering for this diminished, by the way, is 1st, 2nd and 4th finger. So you've got a power chord shape anyway, but it's an octave. That 2nd finger in the middle on the 8th fret. And those are up picks, so. And then back again. The second time round though, the bottom E is played twice. So like that. Also make sure you add in a little bit of palm muting just to keep it nice and crunchy. I think that's the key to this whole track really. Let's go to Izzy's part now. This is repeated 4 times. It's actually quite a lot easier to play than Slash's line. It's parallel fourths. It starts at bar 17 as I've written in the tab there, and it just goes over the top of what Slash is playing. So. So the way to achieve that is 3rd finger barred, all down picks by the way, 3rd fret with the 1st finger, and then this is a pull-off situation. So all left hand once you've done the 1st pick. And also it's worth saying that on some of the repeats it just kind of sounds really messy, but that's, I think, the intention. It sort of sounds like I don't really care. So you're going to play it like that, but just I would never normally say this, but be really not that precise with your left hand, and you'll achieve an effect that you can hear on the record, which is like this. Sounds pretty good to me, and that's kind of got the same levels of crunch and ringing that happen in the album. We'll just carry on with verse 2 here, because there's really nothing that's different before we get to the chorus as well. So we'll just stick with it here just to run it through. But if you missed it, check the first part of this lesson series where you'll be able to catch that. But we'll run through again. So we're going same pattern as the first time round in verse 1. And again, if you want it to sound a bit more contained than that, a little bit more like what it sounds like on the album, put some palm muting in. Try and be a bit more precise than I was about this B flat chord as well. It's one of those situations where it's actually easier to play it standing up, because you can kind of... When you're standing up, it's a bit easier to get your hand around the neck, I find. But anyway, that should work out for you. And then we're going back to chorus 2 here. Again, nothing's really different in chorus 2, so it's just what we've kind of been learning. The last time, though, it's different. You get... just before we hit the bridge, so... I would actually say, because you're coming down each time to the power chord with the first finger, at the beginning of that pattern, when you finish at the end, don't actually come down for this full E minor chord, because you haven't done it any other time. I'd finished that part of chorus number 2 like that. We're going to go on to the bridge where things mix up. I'll just give you a little flavour of the sound here. We're going to get our distortion off and put some chorus on, actually. I'll show you the chorus settings that I use. And we're going to also hit the neck pickup here, and it's going to sound like this. It's going to sound a little bit like this. So the intro bit, like I've said, you've got chorus on, neck pickup here, and you've got the distortion off. Just to give you the chords, you've got so it's a D with the first inversion, which means the F sharp's in the bass. Then you've got a G, B minor with a G in, and then an A with a G in, and it goes round and round a couple of times like that. The picking pattern is alternate, so it's just and these are the notes to play slowly, and make sure you use these fingers, by the way. So second finger to start with, and then slide up with the second and first finger, on those third and second frets, basically a G shape, because then it makes your B very easy because you're already there. So once again, slide, B, and then you just take your second finger and put it there, because then it comes back over. Really cool, that, really nice, and it's worth learning that the different finger choices actually make a huge difference, because the slide up makes that very easy, and then the B minor. Slash plays this with a second finger, and I was tempted to do a first finger there, but then it kind of, I don't know, maybe you could lean across with the second, but I think that on balance he's got the right choice. Because you can move on the open string. Like that. Then all of that goes off, so you put your chorus away, go back to the bridge, and you also put your distortion back on. Now obviously when that's live, someone else is doing it for Slash. You never see him press a million pedals, but if it's you, you're gonna have to find some time to do that there. This next line is a lot faster. The way to do this is just get your pick speed up, and then it's first and third finger, 6th and 7th frets here on the A. And also it's a hammer on. And don't worry if you're a little bit messy, because Slash is very, very messy on this one. This track's kind of characterised by sort of aggressive, not entirely clean sounds, quite a lot of messiness intentionally in there. You end your last one with some vibrato, and you come down, slide down from the 12th, and then you're into a kind of variation of your main riff in a way, because it's power chords. So how this works here is power chords on the 5th and 7th frets here on that D. Then you quickly go up to the 10th, 9th and 7th, so quick picks here. Then down to the bottom. That's the first finger barred across there. And you can move back up to that 7th fret whilst you're playing the B and the E string open, so. Something along those lines. I would keep it a bit cleaner than that though, so. And that leads you into solo 1. You can, I mean, if you were struggling with the variation of going up there, it's actually the same riff, so you could just play it this way 4 times. But just to let you know, in the record itself, it does alternate between the two, so you get. That's the kind of live variant that Slash plays, but I would stick, if you want it to sound like the album, stick with what I've written in the tab there. So it's a huge bend up on the 17th fret here on the B string, and it's a 1.5 fret bend, so you've got to do it slowly as well, so. And then there's a kind of interesting sort of, I would say like it sounds like a wrong note, but it's obviously not, it's done for effect. You get this kind of. And what you're doing is you're grabbing the 17th fret below the one you're bending, and it kind of makes what I would describe as a horrible noise. But when you do it quickly, it sounds really effective and it sounds quite sort of aggressive. Bit like that, so you want to really hit it hard on the G string there. This next pattern is quite standard. Use your 4th finger for this 15th fret here, so on the return down. So 3rd finger up. That's how the next bit goes. So 15th fret, bend up. And then try and hit this with the 2nd finger if you can. Because that makes this next bit really easy. Because it's 1st and 3rd finger. A little bit of sneaky fingering here with the 12th fret. So you've got to sort of use your 1st finger and move it really quickly. And then that bottom 14th fret there on the D string is the 2nd finger, which gives you space to put your 3rd finger on this one. And then you pre-bend. So it's a really cool solo here. Let's just run it through one more time because I want to make sure you really know what's going on. I'm really going to break it down. So the very beginning, let's just begin here. 17th fret, really slow bend a fret and a half, and make sure you use this 1st finger to mute the lower strings so you don't get horrible sound. And then another down pick, and then you do this grabbing of the lower string and hitting it really hard. And you get that kind of howling sound. Down to the 15th fret with the 3rd finger. 4th finger in there. And then, so 14th fret, bend up and down. And then pull off to release. Little bend up. And again, try and land on this one on the 2nd finger if you can. That's the way to do it. Then we're on verse 3, which is no different to how we've previously covered this, and chorus 3 as well, but I'll just run it through for you, seeing as we're here now. We might as well go through the whole song. If you've missed the verses or the chorus, check our previous videos out. They're all there. Chorus 3 comes next. Then we're back to the bridge, which again is quite similar to what we've had before. So we go to the neck pickup, put the chorus on and turn the distortion off. And this is the same again. There's only one slight change coming up here, which I'll just keep you across of, but this is the same pattern as before. In fact, having played that just then, I realised now why it's a 2nd finger, because on the 4th pattern, so you've got... You can actually just slide down and really don't have to move your hand a lot. Lovely little change actually. Well, it's nice to learn something myself, so there we go. Then you get rid of all of what we've just put on, so we're back to the bridge pickup, we're back to the distortion, and we get rid of that chorus. This is the thing that's different in the bridge here. You just get power chords like this. just remember that G is not a power chord, it's this G with a fat finger muting the next string. And the A as well can be a bit fuller. Before we hit solo 2, which is the really difficult one. So the basic notes are but there's a few little sort of like messy sort of dead notes. I think there's a down pick, so you can add that in, and then there's this dead pick here before you hit. So I do that with a third finger with a dead pick before, and then you've got a dead pick again, and then a double fourth finger on the 15th, and then second and third fingers here. Bend both those strings up, those 14ths, and then you've got this lower line. So you slide up with the second finger to that 5th fret, and then you've got this slow, what I like to call a moo cow. So you go. So it's so the third finger on the 5th fret with a long bend, and then a third fret with your first finger, a bit of a pinch harmonic. Then you've got this, and then you've got 2 dead notes, and then first finger on that 5th, 2 more dead notes. So that's quite easy, really, in a sense. So that's leading you to bar 111. Now it gets quite fast here, all hammer-ons and pull-offs. Then you come up to this 12th fret here. And then you get up to the 17th fret here. Second finger. And then it goes on this 14th fret. And then you slide down here. Like that on the bottom frets. They're pretty tough. And then this is the last section, the outro, which we're just going to carry on here with now. This is a new riff. But of course it's never just straightforward with Guns N' Roses. So all down picks here. Second finger, slide, first finger. And then a power chord there. And Slash actually does this in the solo. It's just like a recorded over the top, but we're going to do that as our line here. And then again. And then as that note holds, you can go. Then again. So at that point, you jump up here. So that's a harmonic there. And then the 12th. Right at the bottom you get reverb and delay added in post. That's really the whole last shape, but don't forget these bits. Very cool, isn't it? And that is how to play Guns N' Roses from Appetite for Destruction. It's so easy. It's pretty tough, to be honest with you, but I hope you enjoyed that little series there. I really enjoyed learning it, actually, and just make sure the one thing to keep in mind at all times is try and keep everything a little bit under control. That's kind of Slash's trick, is to just a little bit palm muting, a little bit of not playing it as aggressively as you might think. And you will be away. Thanks for watching this series. I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to do Nightrain when we carry on in a few lessons' time. Do say subscribe if you love a bit of Nightrain. I cannot get enough of it, to be honest with you, and we'll see you very soon. I've been waiting to do this one for a long time. I think it's fair to say it's my favourite Guns N' Roses track, even over Sweet Child of Mine at the moment, because it's just got so much going on, although it's unbelievably difficult. We're going to run it through. Nightrain. This t-shirt does actually say Nightrain, sort of, if you look at it low enough. But we're going to go for it now here on Appetite for Destruction, our lesson series that's tackling the whole album. We've done the first couple of tracks off there, so if you want to check those lessons out, they're available. But let's keep going with it now, and this is Nightrain. So I'll take you through Izzy's part first, because it's a little bit easier than Slash's part. Both of them, though, start off with this distortion sound on the bridge pickup. Izzy's sound is a little bit cleaner than Slash's, though, on the bridge pickup, so you can roll off a little bit the volume or a little bit the tone if you want to just differentiate those two parts. It also kind of goes without saying that we're tuned down to E flat like the whole of Appetite for Destruction is, but just in case you're joining us just for this lesson only, the track is tuned down by a semitone, so we're in E flat tuning here. We're in this A chord with your first finger, and then Izzy's line goes like this. Now, weirdly, it all uses the first finger. I've watched a few live videos of Guns N' Roses, and Izzy's a first finger enthusiast for this line, so. That's the only one that's the second finger. And then you get a double dead note. So that's Izzy's line there, nice and straightforward, lots of sliding around, and it's as simple as that. Now Slash's line is a lot more complicated throughout, and we're going to be focusing on his part for this lesson. This is his intro line though, bridge pickup, distortion on, and a lot more going on. So that A chord again, then you've got a dead note as you move, like that, and then you're coming up to the 7th fret for this chord shape. So, those are your first two notes. So just talking about this initial movement here with these 3-note chords, you've got this, it's like an A7. Because you've got the G at the top of it. And then it's followed by an up pick, so, and then you do a bar across with your first finger. Now this is where it gets interesting already. Early in his career, Slash used to move his first finger, so he used to go. But later in his career, he moves straight away, so you get move to the 3rd, and then down. And the reason for that is that once you've done those initial moves, you've done the hard work, you're in the right position for a lot of the rest of the shape now. So we're going to stick with that suggestion. And then what happens in the next bit is you kind of get a little hammer on. The reason that there's this slight readjustment is because you need to make sure your 3rd finger is in the absolute sweet spot. to be lifted up from those bars like that to make this shape. And if you have it in slightly the wrong place, it's really hard. So that's why, even though you're already there, you have a second to readjust. So once you've hit this new shape, G, and you're going to go to this shape here, bottom note, followed by the top two, let the bottom note ring, and you move up like that at the end, and then you keep that whole shape pressed down to the 5th fret. So this bit is interesting. Once you've played the next bar here, you mute with your 3rd finger just to separate the notes. And then you drop down to that 5th and 4th fret there with the 2nd and 1st finger. Then 2 and 3, 2 and 1, then move. And you do some vibrato here with your 2nd and 3rd fingers, but interestingly the bottom note is sounded quite a lot more prominently than the top note when you're listening to the album, so it's important that you do hit both of those notes. So just to play it through then really slowly for you, so you've got dead note from the beginning. And then it's very similar the next time it comes round. Except the last time you play that power chord, you can hit the full notes with the bottom A's. And then we're going to go into verse 1. So if you watch Slash play this live, there's about 3 different picking options that you can do. I've tried to kind of notate them in the best possible way here to give you some options when you're playing through, because it's very loose, this bit. So we're going to palm mute with this pattern, all down picks. And there's an up here. Now usually I would say, most times round, that note, the power chord is an up. So apart from the first time. So this is how it should be. Up pick there, and then down. Always a down for this. You want to play this note with the 3rd finger as a down pick predominantly. It's easier to play as well with that 3rd finger. What happens though very often when Slash is playing live is that in the main picking pattern is that he will do a sort of double picking, so it's like a like that. So I'll show you one time round. So it's like this. It's very, very commonly done when he's playing live, and I think you can hear it a few times on the album as well. However, as the riff progresses, he always plays certain ones with certain picking styles. So there's definitely later on, as you kind of follow this riff round and round, he starts to favour the down pick. So, for example, in bar 40, he very often will do a down pick in that second time that you hear the chord, like that.
Chance left in a nightlife cat. I got a doggy does not smile. I got a Molotov cover with a match to go. Smoke a cigarette.
Then there's this little turnaround bit. So you just grab the D note there with that third finger, bend up full, and also pull off afterwards, which is quite straightforward. This one here, by the way, is a pinch harmonic. So it goes like... Just a very slight pinch harmonic there. Just make sure you achieve that by turning the pick a little bit sideways and dragging your thumb across the neck there. So just once more. This is the one that Slash does differently here in bar 48. Just before the D. And that D chord is never played with the F sharp in the top. It's always like this. And that third finger just lifts. And then we've got this, before we get into verse 2, we've just got this return. Now Izzy slides in like this. But Slash doesn't slide in, he just comes in like this. So just run you through that here. Slash's line, down, up. That first finger slides twice. And that fifth to fourth, you're really losing the B string. You just hear. So the fingering again is second and third fingers like this. And then second and third fingers here. Slide down with the second and first. And then and that's the third finger here. And then you pinch harmonic with vibrato and then the huge bend. That's why you're using a third finger, because it's easier to do that huge 1.5 fret bend than it is to do it with the second finger. That's harder than... So one more time, because it's just important to get right. Make sure you catch that pinch harmonic right, otherwise it's going to sound odd. Then we're going to go into verse 2, which is very similar to what we've had before, so we're just going to keep going here because it's just a very similar repeat of verse 1. Look out for the picking pattern variations here. I'll run it through with some options. So worth saying, by the way, that Slash very often just sticks with the up pick in the early parts of the riff. And then we're doing another repeat of the intro. So same again, like we've done in the very beginning in our first lesson, and then there's a doubling there. And then you move up. And then you go to this power chord. So just to run that through again, you get the usual intro. So we're diving in and we've done this, we've ended up on this A chord again, and this is the picking pattern. So essentially the pull-offs are the key, and the picking pattern is the key as well. There's occasional times where Slash will go a little bit of variations that are possible live, but really most of the time it's played like this: down pick and then up, pull off, and then down, which I found hard to get my head around, but it's just because it's emphasis. This is where it changes up here in bar 77. You've got this power chord, which both of the notes are played for. So first and third frets with your first and fourth fingers on this F. And then Slash just like awesomely holds this G chord. So that G, just use the third finger and hit those bottom four strings, but ignore the A string and make sure you mute that with your fat finger. Make sure that this G note is played with your second finger before you hit the solo section, which Izzy does, the first one actually. He goes the... We'll start with Slash's pre-solo because we're following Slash's line really, and this is how it goes. So there's a lot of power chords and lifting off the first finger. So that little bit is slightly lift off on this power chord here. So you've got to move. I mean, really, you're not playing that second fret there, you're kind of just playing the bottom string. Because you're doing it so quickly, it doesn't really matter. And then it carries on, so... little slide down before it comes round again. These are all up picks, by the way, so... That's Slash's solo, which we'll go to in a minute. Izzy's solo comes over that, and then it has a little pause at the beginning, and then it's like this. So just to run it through slowly, you have this offbeat, and then you get the bends, third and fourth finger. So it's a bend, then a pre-bend, release. That's a little bend up. Then a dead note. Then the third finger starts to slide down here, so all the way down to that second fret. And then it's up picks from Izzy as well. So that's Izzy's solo. Slash's solo is pretty complicated, so let's get straight into that. There's loads to go through here. So we start off with this part one of Slash's solo, the first solo. And it's a third finger and a fourth finger, and you're doing a full bend on the ninth. And a slightly lesser bend, and then a half bend. You do the same again. And then you're sliding up to this 11th with the third finger. So that's a nice arpeggio. So slide up to the 11th. Then this 12th fret is a full bend. And then when you press this down pick here, you're catching the B string on the 12th as well. Like that. And then 10th, the 12th, and this. This is the kind of Chuck Berry section that everyone refers to here. So the 10th doubling here, so it's like that. And then nice little pattern there, very kind of chilled. And then when you're jumping up for this really fast bit, and then this next bit is, so slowly you're on the 17th fret here, and then it's the second finger, and then you slide down, and then it's a dead note, bend up, slide down there. Switch to the neck pickup here. This gets very, very involved. Parallel sixths, very beautiful section, but very tough to play. On the 7th fret there. So second and third finger with the dead note in the middle. So just running it through slowly. 7th and 7th, down. So just slide that up, no second pick there, and then dead notes. And then you do this, second and first finger, 11th and 10th. Then back to the 9th. 6th and 5th. And then as you're sliding down to those second frets, switch the bridge pickup again, and then you're going to this new shape. So I'll run you through that. So 4th fret, then over to the third finger, 3rd and 4th, full bend here, 1st and 4th, very hard to get back for that, and then you slide down here and do a pinch harmonic. Pretty difficult, I must say, but awesome. Then you've got this little continuation of the solo here before we go back to the return. There's two ways you can play this. Now, in the early days, Slash used to do it like this. But recently, he's upgraded that to go. So I would recommend the new way. The picking pattern he uses is up, down, up. So, and then same again. So those are the downs. Then same again. So there's a little slide bit here as well, which I wouldn't recommend doing if you're playing live. I mean, you can hear it on the album on the 7th frets here. The slide is used. But you're not going to get a slide out just for that little section here, because you do double pick and then slide. What Slash does every time he plays live, though, is he plays the bottom note of this chord, so he goes, and then does harmonics with these 3 notes. Which is really cool and shakes the neck. So before you get to the epic return. So there's a few different things here. You split the first chord like that, and then as these dead notes are happening, you move. You slide down that third finger and vibrato. You double that third note here, and then you slide that down, and then you're back up, and there's a rhythm change. There's this long delayed bend, so now I suspect that really there's a second pick, but on the album it doesn't sound like it. So I would say don't pick again, try and get that note to sustain. It's hard. And then we're into chorus 2, which I'll just run us through here. This is very similar to what we've heard before. We're going to get into our outro solo in just a minute, but the slight difference here is that you do, instead of just playing, which we've had before, Slash actually does continue the riff, so let's just run through that. The down pick, so that's a single note, and then fourth finger, second finger, and G with the third finger. So that G then bends with the third finger, slide up, little quarter bend there, before we get into the proper outro solo. So I'm just going to run you through this now. Try and follow along with the tab, I think that's the most helpful. So from this point, we're on the third finger on the second fret on the G. Nice bit of vibrato on that fifth fret. Not too difficult so far. Then we're sliding down to the fourth. And then you jump up here. And then this is how this next bit goes. So quite complicated, but if you follow the tab, I think you'll find it's actually explained quite in a straightforward way. There's a slight pinch harmonic for the next one. And then the next bit is pinch harmonic. Slight pinch harmonic there as well. So that's actually all quite straightforward. Then we're going up again to the seventh with more pinch harmonics. There's a lot more here, so. And then you jump up to the 10th here, which is quite difficult. And then first and fourth. And then you jump down. And then it's a rebend. And then you've got to come over with this. And then this is where it gets really hard, so up to the 8. And then this. That slide is the absolute key to this solo, so. And it has to be a third finger, because then the next bit all links on from that, so. just keep following it along, so then it's jump up. So that's where you jump down there. It's a bit of a weird note choice, but it is there. And then we're on to this next section here. So it's high up, then over. Lots of unusual bending there, but it's absolutely right. And then it's this 17th fret. And then you get to... And the gradual fade out happens over time, and that's the sort of specific notes that you need to play if you want to follow it absolutely identically to the solo here. So I just ran it through there for you so that you can kind of play along really slowly to make it accurate. Now obviously when you're doing it you can just improvise. There's no requirement to follow along with Slash's notes, but I just spent a while tabbing that out for you just so that you can actually play along if you so choose. That's it from us. Thanks for watching this whole series. It's been a lot of fun. Do check out some of the playthroughs we've got and the rest of our Appetite for Destruction series. I hope that's been useful. Follow the tabs. They're all free and available to download there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Well, here we are, everybody, back with our Appetite for Destruction lesson series. We've done the first few tracks on there, and we've landed on this one, on side one, Out to Get Me. And for a track which isn't played that much on the radio, that not every music fan will have heard of before, it's unbelievably complicated to play this one. It's got extended solo sections throughout. It's very complex in terms of the... even the main riff pattern is very unusual. We're going to learn all of that in this series, and we're going to start off with the introduction section. Do check out some of the other videos there that we've been running in this series as we carry on through, and do subscribe if you love Guns N' Roses. I mean, the hardest thing about this video was to choose the right t-shirt, the band artwork from the original Appetite for Destruction. But anyway, we're going to go into this intro section, which is on the bridge pickup here. As usual for Guns N' Roses, we're tuned down by a semitone, so nothing particularly weird about that. Let's launch into it then. So our initial riff, a lot can be said about this. It starts off with Izzy doing the main riff, and at that moment Slash comes in from the 18th fret and joins the party. So you've got one lot of Izzy, and then Slash joins the party. So that's when Slash comes in, but we're just going to play it through from the beginning, and I'm going to teach you a lot of the little tricks and tips here if you want to master this riff. So you're playing a chord without the root note. So here it's a B flat chord. So it's a G, B flat, G. But the way that you're cheating is by not playing any of the root notes. So you're just playing those 2 open strings here. Then the 3rd finger lands on the 3rd fret. Play those 2 notes, and then it's open again. Now, the way that Slash does this live is very cool. He also takes his left hand off the guitar completely, so you get a sort of way of showing off, I would suggest. So, as the riff progresses, you're coming over to the A and D strings, and you're playing them open. And then you're barring the 1st finger on the 3rd fret. And then you're doing that note again. And you're hammering on with your 3rd and 4th finger. So it goes like... And then it carries on, so... So you take those off, and then you're coming across with a 3rd finger, and sometimes Slash hits the B string as well. And then there's a dead note as he moves. So again, from the beginning. Don't forget the dead note, which I sometimes forget. It's easier to play at full speed because you kind of fall into the rhythm of it, so it's more like this. And then it goes into the first solo, which is up here on the 18th fret. So you're up on the 18th fret on the B string. Make sure you use that 1st finger to cover the lower strings when you're doing this full bend here. With lots of vibrato. So you've got 2 of these picked. And then you're going to catch the G string with a double pick here. So it should sound a little bit nasty. Like that, and then you're doing the same thing with landing on this, so pull off to the 15th and then an up pick on the 17th with your 2nd finger on that G string. And that gives you just enough time to bend up on your new note here. 17th fret with a half bend. So you've got those 2 notes that come into play. The B string gets picked again. And then the next little triplet pattern is the 15th. Away from yourself this time. So the way this works is you do those bends away and picks at the same time. There's a little extra up pick there. So there. That's a 3rd finger, by the way, when you're doing those 17th double bends and releases. So 3rd finger on that one. Then there's a pick rake down before you land on verse 1. So here we go then. We've re-entered the main riff. We've landed on this palm muted chord. Now there's a few bits over the top of this which I'm going to play you, and this is what Slash is doing. So that's one phrase that Slash does. If you want to do the chords and play that over the top, you going to have to end on a fourth finger on that last note. You want to go back to... but I would recommend just doing a few of these and then just go... and then go for your next phrase, which goes like this. So that Slash's second line there with some pinch harmonics in. And then you've got this power chord section leading into this new riff. So the way this works, so you do your power chords, and then hit your open D, third finger, first finger, first finger. Now sometimes Slash picks the next note before the hammer offs, the pull off, sorry. But he also can pick it. So it's whatever you find easy, really. I quite like the hammer on and then the pull offs. It's like maximum sass. And then with this following section, it's a third finger rather than a fourth, which is weird. The next time it comes round, Slash again does the same thing. But Izzy can be heard playing the bracketed notes, which you can achieve yourself if you want to do it as a variation. You go, so bar across with the seventh, and then the same again. So do a different fingering, jumping down with a third, and then 2 and 1. So that's if you want to play the Izzy version of those chords, or the Slash version again, which follows. Got to remember to play it with a third finger like Slash does, just gives you a bit more power. We keep going with it, it comes around again. Oh yeah, and then you get this variation, which is the third finger and these two notes. We fall back into the chorus then after this verse. I'll just play through the chorus now because it's the same as before. And then you get this different variation. Lots of vibrato on that last pinch harmonic there. Before you re-enter verse 2, and we're going to carry on with verse 2 because it's very similar to what we've just done. So you've got these Slash lines up again. So there's this one here. And then you get these. And then Slash does this one. Then we come round again with these power chords. And then we keep going. And you can do the hammer again, or you can do the pick. Keep going on with bar 69. Got this same turnaround again, which is like this. Notice there's an extra dead note in bar 71, just because that's the way it sounds on the record. Then we've got chorus 2 here. There's a little doubling, which Slash very often does. And then the main solo, which everything gets a little bit mad. So you're on the 17th fret, but you're doing dead notes. So you hear, and then you come in with the bends. Then you hear this. By the way, doubling the third finger there. So pull offs. But then the last one, there's a little rhythmic change, so it will just go from bar 84. And then you hit up on bar 87, you've got this full bend on the 18th, full pre-bend. Pull off, and then a third finger. Then there's an open B, which I love. And then you jump up to the 18th and do the same thing again. Except you catch these 2 strings here. And then you get this third finger. And then it goes like this. And then you get to what I think of as the second part of the solo, where it kind of changes up after that dead note on the 17th fret. And then you've got this palm muted section. Then we go into the solo change up here. So when the riff returns, Slash jumps up to the G and B strings, does double third finger and bends half a fret. Then up to the 17th and same again. Then down here. 14th. 12th with the third double finger. So that comes around again. And then you get this variation of it, which is full tone bend. Same again. And then it comes around again. And it goes up. And that top one goes. So the double fret bend from the 18th here. And you gradually lose the upper string, by the way. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. And underneath Izzy's line, you can hear him doing this. So Izzy's doing that underneath, while Slash has these kind of little continued outro solos here. And then Izzy has this. This next one coming round is like this. And then the intro solo comes back again while that's all happening. So it's very similar, and then you get. And then we're on to the final outro section there. So 17th fret on the D string, and we're on a third finger, vibrato, then we're going to do little bend and a vibrato, and then we're here. So bend away from you again with your third fingers. So when you're doing that up pick, you may find that you catch the 15th fret first finger on the D string, which is fine because that's what Slash does. Last time round it goes up to this 18th. And then the last note here is a volume swell. So what you do is you turn your volume down, pre-pick the note, and then bring it in. So let me show you how that works. Take that, Wonder Heart. And we're done. That was Out to Get Me from Guns N' Roses. Our Appetite for Destruction playthrough continues. We're actually landing on a song that we've already done next in the series, which is Mr. Brownstone, before we hit Paradise City, and that will complete side 1 of Appetite for Destruction. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-release the video that we recorded for that, but I'm going to do it with a properly computerized tab, because I was originally writing them out by hand in the beginning. So I'm going to update that one, re-release the series of videos with updated tabs just to complete the Appetite for Destruction tab availability. All of them are available in the link below. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe so that I can keep doing this rather than a real job, and we'll see you next time. Check out some of our other videos as well. So we're doing a Guns N' Roses classic today, one of my favourites, Mr. Brownstone, which is why I found a brown t-shirt with a sweet guitar on it. Look at that bad boy. But anyway, I've really wanted to do this one for a long time because there's so much in it that's really tough. The rhythm, just to start with, is a tough one, but also the actual main riff with that kind of pause in it. A riff I played wrong for years by doing a doubling, but instead of just going. But anyway, we'll get into all the details now. Here we go for Mr. Brownstone from Guns N' Roses. By the way, if you're wondering, Mr. Brownstone is a song about heroin, as I discovered from looking up all about the lyrics, written by Slash and Izzy. There's a few interesting bits about this. We'll start right at the beginning, though, with this kind of Jimi Hendrix wah type thing. I've got a wah pedal as well on this video, so you can see what I'm doing. This one is just the same rhythm as the main riff, with your kind of wah picks here. Muted strings. That's the sound you're looking for, and you're going to kind of rock the wah as you do that. You're going to want to do it around the 3rd fret, I guess, just to kind of give it a similar sound to the record. It's got quite a high sort of piercing sound to it. You can do it up here as well on the 12th. Kind of up to you really. Let's try it on the 3rd fret though. And this is the rhythm which you do 3 times. So there's only one pause in it. So you do that 3 times round. And then the 4th time round, there's a little extra pause. So you've got... That's the 4th time round, so that extra little pause in there. Then you're coming up to the 12th fret and you're going to slide all the way down using your 3rd finger. So you start on the 12th fret and use that 3rd finger there, slide it down. Now if you're playing Slash's line, you keep that wah pedal on here and you're going to just do chords. So you're going to do E major, and he really uses the wah, especially in live versions, so he kind of goes, and then you're going to go for a D, back to the E, and then you get rid of the wah and you do these chords D, A, B. So that's Slash's line. If you're going to play Izzy's line, it's a little bit more difficult. It's got the main riff here, which we'll go through properly in a sec, but just to give you a flavour of what he's playing. So that's Izzy's line. Now we will run through that properly, but just to let you know, I'm always kind of favouring Slash's line in these tabs. So the one little move that isn't in Slash's part is this pull-off section. So to do that, you're just going to take your 2nd and 1st fingers on your B string and pull them off. Then you're going to pull off the next string, the G, on that 2nd fret, next one, over again, and then you're going to hammer this one on and to that E power chord. So let's carry on with Slash's line then, and this is the main riff, which is something I've played wrong for a long time. I was always doubling the power chord at the bottom, so I was going, which it isn't, it's just a single one. So the riff is great because you can stay in the same position, which is what I would call like the open position, 1st finger there on your E power chord. And this is how the riff goes. You're going to use all alternate picking, open E, 3rd fret on that E string. So then come over for that B. So that's the pattern. So the only repeated pick is the power chord followed by the next 3rd fret. So down, down again. Now the next bit is interesting because Slash does these power chords sliding down here. So 5, 4, 3. Whereas Izzy does this, that little pattern that we played before. So we'll stick with the Slash line here. Just before we get to that open string B and E there, just to let you know that these power chords down sometimes have little muted funky notes in there. But I'm going to do it straight just for the sake of learning the riff here in this first instance. So A power chord up to this 5th, bend that G string with your 3rd finger, and then you're going to play this as if it was an open E string rather than using the 1st finger, which means you've got to do a sneaky move from the bend of the G like that. Got to be quite quick about that one. So, and if you want to add in the extra funky notes, that's how you're going to do it. Now that riff repeats again. And I'm going to slide up to the first wah pedals section here. So let's just go through that riff one more time as we get into it. So you slide up to that 5th fret, and then you also bend the note whilst turning the wah pedal on. And then you're going to do this next riff here. So I'll run you through that, which is 7th fret on the A string there. So this is all about kind of a funky feel to it. You're going to look for hammer-ons and also these kind of dead notes that are picked. If you want to be strict about what's heard on the album though, you're going to do a down on the 7th, up pick, which is a dead note, down on the 5th, and then this next bit, you can either play it in 2 ways on the record. You either do 3 straight notes, or you can do the up dead note picks in the middle. You can use a variety of those. The live options particularly have those dead notes in. And then we go back for that same riff again. Now this bit is pretty tough. So you're doing that 8th fret on the B, 6th on the G, coming all the way down for that E there. Pretty tough, but worth doing. Then the wah goes off. So take that off. And we're going back for it again, so you'll realise that there's a lot of repetition in this song particularly. I'm just going to get the old tab up here, which I'm following, but as you slide up, put that wah on again. There's a slight variation here in the turnaround where you hear this. So follow the tab 5, 6, 7. And this is also page 2 of the tab, which you might want to download. Because it's just handy to have really in front of you. So this is the power chords section here, which again I've been playing wrong for quite a little while now. This is a G, F, G power chord movement. And there's a live option as well, which goes a bit like. But let's go for the record version here. So you've got your power chord on the G. So it's just a straightforward 1 and 4 on those power chords here. The second chord is really cut short, so that's what that line's all about in the tab. Then you use the full major chord of this D. Then the crazy wah goes on as you do this section. Just remember that the wah goes on this 5th fret and it goes crazy. Now this is quite a tough rhythm because I did it wrong for a while as well. I was going like this. I was going. But there's actually too many muted dead notes in that. You need to do it a bit straighter. So I'll run you through that 7th fret here. So down, down with a wah. And always do those little up picks with that muted note. And rock the wah as well. So we'll just run through it. 7th fret here. So this is where it gets interesting. 7, 5, 7. You're going to go for the 7th fret. Now everyone gets this bit wrong, but this is how Slash does it. Slide down to the 4th fret. And then use your 4th finger on that 7th on the E there. That's his kind of neat way of getting down there. until the next section where I would put the wire off, and then this is a sort of little breakdown before the solo. There's two lines here. One is Izzy Stradlin playing the power chords. The other one is Slash going. I've seen Slash do that live so many times, just playing those single notes. However, if you want to kind of get a compromise of that, if you're just jamming along to the track, I would recommend doing the power chords here. And then coming down for Slash's part. And just playing that as a single note, and then carrying on. That's my recommendation, but the true Slash line is just this. I'm going to have these power chords here just to finish it. Although Slash's line is truly just... But I put the power chords in the tab there because you might want to do that hybrid line like I said. Let me go back to this power chords again. And then I like to put the wire on here. There's one little variant in this time round though, which after these 7th frets here. He drops down to the 4th fret. Which I think is a nice little variation there, and we're just about to hit the solo section, but we'll just do it one more time for you with the wah. So we're doing that same pattern that we learnt before, sliding down to the 4th as we go straight into the solo section up here. So we're up there on this 14th fret with your E string. So you bend up to the 19th, and then you use your 16th fret with a slight bend up to the 17th there, which is a kind of a pre-bent note. And then you drop that down, which is what I would call like a ghost bend, so you're dropping it through. And then the next sequence is like this. So it's quite complicated, so I'm just going to take the wire off and run you through it. So just again, that first initial bend, up from the 16th to 17th, and then drop it down, 14 to 16. Now this is an unusual picking pattern, so this is upwards, and you're bending away from you. Like that. And then you do a down up. Then you come up again to that 17th fret, but this time you don't have the 14th one sort of hanging on with you. You just do the note itself. Same again with that 16th to 17th. But it's a little bit different actually. It's a little bit kind of differently bent, so you can actually hear it flatter. Like that. And then this is the next sequence where things get very fast. Now this sequence here, it's a really tough bend, that 17 to 20. And also there's a lot of reverb on. I'll just stick a little bit of reverb on there, and it sounds a bit more like it than. Anyway, that's the reverb sound, which I would recommend sticking on if you perhaps going to get someone to do it while you're soloing, because it's hard to stick your foot on that while you're going. But just to run you through the notes themselves, because that's the most important bit, I think. So up from this huge screaming bend here, so you want to do a tiny bit on the 14. Then you're going to come down for this 14 and 14, 16, 17. You've got to use that 4th finger there. I know I've written a downstroke on that 14 there, but probably an up is better actually. Like that. So that use that third finger from the 17 to the 16. Now this is where it's kind of interesting here. There's two different occasions that this is played. So you go. So the first time you bend up the 16 to the 18. The second time you play it where the 16 has a bit of a drop on it. Like that second time round. So you do those little bits there like that. And then nice little shape there. And that's probably the hardest bit of the whole piece, to be honest with you. Just because it's so quick, and you've got to kind of work out sometimes your preferred. So I just dropped my pick there. Your preferred fingering pattern. But just to let you know that Slash very often uses the fourth finger as a quick note. So if you're going, that fourth finger is really the kind of fast note that gets you to sound super, super quick there. We're going to go on to the next page of our tab now, where this is another sequence of notes where it basically is a whole new riff. Drop down to the 3rd fret and take this 5th fret here, whilst you're keeping your first fingers across these 3rd frets here. Bend it up to the 7. All alternate, by the way. So that's one picking variant, or the one which I actually would recommend, which is above that in the tab. That all makes sense. Then you've got this bent down note with a down. Then you play this 5th with a down. Hammer on here. That's what I've seen Slash do live quite a few times, and I'd recommend that. So, and then you take that whole shape and do it again. Exactly the same, but with the 8th fret as your kind of base there with your first finger. Now the 3rd shape is actually different, annoyingly, so we can't just use that same thing again. 13th fret here and bend up to the 15th. So there's a doubling there, which is quite a nice little touch, which I only heard when listening to the record very carefully. Doubling on the 13th. So it's that pattern, so. And then you're going to do this really tough pattern here, which is the, well, it's quite a normal bend shape here. But you've got to be really quick, so. And the D1 to the G1 is often almost too hard to play. Now there is a little cheat which I've seen a few people do, so I will show it to you. You can just come up to the D there on the 15th. If you want, but cheating, maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't recommend that. Maybe we should just go for the real Slash version. Just learn to be quick. And then we're going to do these intro kind of wah muted notes again. So just running through that again. 12th note slide down there. And then we're back into our intro riff again, which means that we're on the home straight now. There's very little that's different that we've done before, but we'll just play through it one time just because it's so much fun. So the intro riff. Wah pedal on. And then we're into this bit. I'll use the hybrid version, so. Or the Slash version. Do the power chords there. And then we're just scrolling down the tab because we're about to hit it and quit soon. We do these same chords here. Final page of the tab now, and we're just going to run it through to the end. It's nice and easy. That same riff that we've kind of come to know and love now. This is the only bit that's different, I would say, which is the higher version of the riff, which is actually quite tough, and Slash does it like this on the 7th fret. So 7, 5, 6, drop down 1 fret to the 4th, and there's a harmonic here. And then Slash does actually play the easy riff that we learned at the very beginning. Now the last 4 notes are actually picked alternately, so... Sometimes the neck bends in the live version. So you bend the neck, especially in the live version, and then the end is simply... And that's it, the end of Mr. Brownstone from Slash and Guns N' Roses. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed that, then I hope you subscribe to our videos. We'll do more Guns N' Roses in the future, but thanks for watching, peace out, and we'll see you next time. Well, it's been a while, but we've managed to make our way to the end of side A from Appetite for Destruction, and we've landed on one of the most beautiful and exceptionally difficult pieces of music of all time. This is Paradise City, signature track from Guns N' Roses. They very often end their gigs with this one. There was a recent performance with Dave Grohl, came out and sort of jammed away with them. There's so much technically to have a look at here. So we're going to start off with the intro. First things first, before we dive in, it's E-flat tuning, so we're tuned down at a semitone. So just bear that in mind as we dive into Paradise City. So the first thing you need to know is that you're on a clean tone. You're on the bridge pickup of your guitar, and you've got to have a chorus pedal turned on. Now I've put some settings of the chorus pedal that I use, which you can check out here. I would highly recommend this chorus pedal, just because it has a lot of variety and a lot of sounds available, but it really captures pieces of music like this, Paradise City, and also Sweet Child of Mine, which we're going to get onto as we continue our Appetite for Destruction lesson series. I would highly recommend getting hold of this pedal if you're interested in a chorus. Without it, it can still sound pretty good, but we're going to dive in here with the chorus. So notes-wise, you're playing with a G chord, a C chord, and an F chord. So those chords just on their own. That's the G, then you've got the C with that extra G in the top. Then you've got the F with the G in the top, so it's like a sustain. And then there's a little turnaround. So that's the first point. The second point, which is something I find particularly interesting, is that on the album version of this piece of music, it's actually slightly different to how it has always been played live. You'll see a lot of lessons telling you to stick in an extra note in the pattern here. So that extra B note there with the extra up pick is basically how Slash plays it live all the time. However, on the album version, if you listen carefully, which I've done many times, you can't hear that note being played because it isn't played. Now, I think that gives this intro actually a bit more of a rhythmic, cooler feel. Without that extra note, it actually has a little bit of sort of pause and give and take. So without the note, Whereas with the note, of course, it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't feel as cool to me. But anyway, we're going to stick with the album version because that's what we've done with all these lessons here. But in brackets, I put the extra up pick for you, and that does continue each time round. Sometimes there's an extra B note with an up pick in the live situations, like the little note says. So let's dive in then. The picking pattern as well is absolutely key with this introduction. Without the picking pattern, without following it, you're going to really, really struggle to play it. I can only really manage to get my head around this one because of the way the picking is done. So the first G is the only one where you really spread it out slowly like that with an arpeggiation. So you drag your pick across the notes, just like that. And then it's down, up, down, up. And then you're going to skip out the bracketed note and you're going to do a down. And then it's down, up, down, up. So one more time for that first bar. And then this is the bit where it gets interesting. So 2 open notes. And then you're going to hammer on the C shape. So again. Another thing to mention, by the way, is that this first fret, first finger on the B string here is the note that you're always returning to after these shapes. A lot of people play open Gs and other stuff. If you listen really slowly on the album, it always goes. It always keeps coming back there, so make sure that you do the same thing as well. Then the F chord. So this is kind of one of the more difficult patterns here. So you're going to hammer on those F notes. So the third and second fingers. And then you're going to hear. And then same as the previous hammer on situation. Then lift everything off. 2 open strings and then back to the G. Now the way this G is played is not quite as arpeggiated as the first time. And also you don't actually play the top note in bar 4, you just hear. And then you're going to hear the pattern again. So the way this bar 4 works. So the way bar 4 works is you play that chord but just play the lower strings. And then you hear this. Up. And then this is the turnaround here, so. Just like that. And you return to simply that D note here. But as you're playing that D note, you're recreating your opening G chord pattern like that. And then you're ready, in position to carry on in bar 5 after that open note. So that's how you tackle the intro section. We're going to run it through one time now, a little bit slower than it's played live, just to make sure you can follow along. I'll do the picking pattern as is written down and just try and keep up with the tab here. So what happens then, just as I was about to play the turnaround there, is it carries on another few times, but the Take Me Down to the Paradise City singing comes in. So this carries on underneath. scrolling along to bar 15, and then that's where it changes. You get these 3 chords. If you listen carefully on the album, that's what happens before you hit the mega power chord. So that's just an F, a C, and then you've got a G, but you're not playing the second finger or the second string. Just gives it a nice plain and open sound. So you're still on the bridge pickup and you've lost your chorus pedal now. You've turned that off from the introduction. This is where it's kind of an interesting sequence here. So you've got this G. A lot of people think it's like played like this. But actually, Slash always plays it live like that. Which actually makes it quite tough to kind of move your fingers around. But anyway, you've got that G. The second string and finger is not really used. And you do these double dead picks. Then you've got the same thing following that. And then you come back down for the... So that C chord has this note in it. So flatten that third finger across. And then this F is first, third and fourth fingers. And then drop down. When you're playing this chord, you're not playing the top 2 strings, by the way, you're just hitting the bottom ones. That's the hardest one to come down again for it. Then when you mute again, you have to really mute the strings there. Sometimes live Slash will do a bit of vibrato as well. Now, before you get into the soaring solo, if you're the rhythm guitar, then you play those 2 little picks again. But if you're Slash, you don't bother. He often slides up like that. But really, on the album, you just hear him getting to this 12th fret. Neck pickup, by the way. And a lot of this little tune is sort of played on the edge of breaking through with harmonics and pinch harmonics. So when he plays it, it's not just... You can almost hear the slight tilting of the pick and the thumb dragging, and you get... That's quite a good one with the bend down. There's also an extra live note. If you hear Slash play this live, he goes... Just so you know, there's that little live variant. But this is how it's played on the album version. So what you want to do is you want to hammer on, down, up, then next, and then down, up again. 15th fret on that B. And then this is the second finger. And back with the third. Third finger here. Then you're coming over with the second for this. And then... Now, it took me ages to work out this little turnaround here. How could it be played successfully? So there's 2 approaches that Slash uses. One is to use the third finger, up pick here, and then use the second finger, which I would recommend. That's why I've written it as option 1. Sometimes, in a live situation, you'll hear Slash go second finger, and then third. So whichever one you find easier, I would recommend, but I personally like sliding in with the second finger behind and doing that vibrato with the full. Next time the riff comes round, it's just very slightly different here. So the hammer on again. Second finger. So that's a pull off there, and then up. And third finger then over like this. Then you get the whistle, and then you do a slide up and down. Then you're going to go into verse 1, which is on the bridge pickup. Still in E-flat tuning, we've got a little slide down the first time it gets played. You're on the bridge pickup and you've got your distortion on here. And really this riff is quite easy. So it's down pick, down, up, down, then the same again. So one more time. I suppose the main thing to bear in mind is that when you're crossing the string, it's a down, down pick. And a little bit of, just a touch of palm muting. Same again with the down pick, so here. And a little bend. And once again, this is another line which is almost breaking into harmonics here. So you've got a little bit of just kind of tilting the pick a little bit more of an angle, and it sounds more like this. And like these notes, for example, especially that third fret here, often sort of is verging into the harmonic territory. But just remember those down, down pick patterns. So. So the next time it comes round, I've just notated above in bracketed notes that on the album you hear a second guitar line that Slash has recorded, which is a fifth above. So it has the effect if you played them both. Which obviously you can't play at the same time like that, but that's why it sounds so kind of dirty and heavy. Sometimes in interviews, Slash says he recorded it an octave above. Now there is a guitar that plays an octave above, which is the Izzy line, but actually this is a fifth above, which why it sounds absolutely monstrous and heavy. So let's just run through from bar 37. We'll play Slash's line that he plays live. Little time signature change there, and then you've got just third finger bend, and then you go back down to the main riff again. So I've written Izzy's line in just above here, just in case you're interested. Izzy's line is an octave above. But it does it with a more sort of funky feel, so. So Izzy's line is just notated above one time in bar 45. We'll carry on with Slash's line though for now. And again, that harmonic. You can aim for a pinch harmonic there. Sometimes it comes out. Bar 47. And now this is Slash's part here. Sometimes he doesn't always play the open string, so you get. Izzy's line goes like this. Above Slash's part in bar 50. Sometimes live. And Izzy bends. So that's Izzy's line, which is over the top of Slash's line. Then we go back to chorus 1, which we've had before. I'll just run you through that. This is just for completeness' sake. And then we're back in verse 2, which we're going to crack on with now. This is more Slash doing his thing. Bar 63. Bar 67. Sometimes Slash does this as a live option, just in case you wanted a little power chord in there. Same again. Then chorus 2, we're obviously carrying on because it's the same as what we've done before. Power chords down. Same thing as actually what happens in Nightrain, interestingly. You've got that kind of move down to an F. And then you get the... So you're on this 3rd fret on the D string. You've slid in. This is quite straightforward, then it goes. So a little bend. I'd recommend bending away from yourself, actually. Just a little bit cleaner, and Slash tends to bend away when he can get away with it. And then you open string there, which gives you time to set up here onto this pattern, which is a 5th fret bend with a 3rd finger. And you're letting that first note ring as well, so. And sliding up with the 2nd finger. Then you've got a replacement, and then you put your 3rd finger on it and do a pinch harmonic. And then release. And then you're going for sort of slight pinch harmonics again. Then this is all palm muted here, so you've got lots of vibrato there. And then you get this unusual bit where you bend away from yourself, bend away with the 2nd and 3rd finger. Then you do the 3rd fret with the 1st finger, and then you cut. Quite an unusual section, that, isn't it? You get. Tough one, this one, but we're going to learn it together. So the essential idea is to do the 10th fret that's the kind of main riff, if you like, and you're on the neck pickup, by the way, here. So bar your 1st finger across, and then your 2nd finger does a hammer on, and then up, so down, up, and then down, down, with another hammer on. So each top string is played with an up pick, basically. Then you move it all down 2 frets to the 8th. I think that's kind of okay once you've got the pattern there and the string skip. But when it changes up here, and it took me ages to discover that Slash has been playing this in 3 different ways. That was way number 1. The next bit is you slide in with the 2nd and 1st finger. And then same again. So the way to really do this is to take your 1st finger, start on the 9th fret, do that, but with the 2nd finger held down, so. Same again. Now, the reason I've written some of the notes as doubles, so in bar 92, when it slides in the first time, for example, you've got Slash often doubles the first time, then cleans up, and then same again. So you hear that doubling the first sort of iteration. And then this is when it changes one more time, bar 94. So you slide in bar 94, then you lose the rest, so you get... So one more time from bar 94. And that is the end of the bridge section, which is nuts. We'll just keep going with the alternate verse pattern, because once you've done that, you slide down and you end up here on your G string on the 4th fret here. So you land back here, back on the bridge pickup, and you get a bit more vibrato on the 4th frets though. That's the 4th and 2nd finger, by the way. And then the way that Slash tackles the next section is he drops down to the 2nd fret, slide to the 5th, vibrato, slide up to the 10th, 9th, and then you've got a really weird turnaround where you get... So 3rd finger, pull off, and then 4th fret, and the 3rd fingers are used throughout that, which is kind of odd. Back to chorus 3. This is a slight variation, so we'll just run you through this before we get to solo 2. So then you get... So same again, hammer-ons. That's an optional note there. It's not played on the album, so just go for 2nd finger. And 3rd finger there, because you're going to go for... So this is interesting, because you're going to use the 3rd finger here, and then 2nd sneaks in. And then back with the 3rd finger on the 14th at the end of that bar. Then we go round again. Bit of vibrato. And then you do this 4th finger, 3rd finger, then a full bend and release. So this one here. And then this is a 2nd finger. And then a 13th fret with the 3rd finger. And then pre-bend. And then you slide up. Them again. So on the intro riff here, you're back on the bridge pickup and you're going for... Make sure you do the down-down picks there. Same again. Drop it. It's a little slide up there. Quite a slow slide, actually. Slide in a little bit. And then, so a full bend on that 10th there, and then drop it again. And then there's the beginning of the outro solo here. So we're up to the next pickup, and then we're on this 12th fret here. And then we're doing this double 3rd finger on the 5th frets. Then you get this. and then you're diving up. I'm going to use the second finger to end on this 14th fret here. So that's that first little line, and then it goes from there in bar 135 to the 12th fret, and then stretch up. So that's the typical slash pattern there. Fourth finger. So third finger with a bend up. And then you switch to this second finger. And then as long as you end on the 18th fret there, bending up 2. Pretty cool. Then you've got this crazy section coming. So what happens here is you get, those are the picked notes, but then there's also a 5th fret with a second finger. And Slash does it so quickly, it kind of sounds like a little bit of a mess. That's kind of how you achieve it, and you've got to go for it really, really, really fast. Kind of like that, really. It's nuts, isn't it? And then you slide up here. So that's the next section, then you slide up here. And then you hear, and it's the same thing again. So you bend away from yourself, release, and then come towards yourself. And then you get this fast run here. Jump up. And then it jumps up. And then slides down there. It sounds a lot better when it's fast, but these are the notes that are played. Bar 154 right now. And then you're going to slide up at some point to the first finger. So you've got to use these notes here. Then it's still an 8 pickup, and then you're going to do this ridiculously fast section here that goes. So you do this muted. You gradually release the palm. So you just jump up to there. Make sure you use that second finger here when you're doing this. Jump. And then we're on the outro here, so and then we're doing this cool pattern on the outro here, so that's how the first section works. You're doing it kind of slowly with a bend. So that happens a few times. And then it changes to... So it's like a sort of repeating pattern there. So you get the hammer on, 1 4 1, and then the second finger is the bend. And then once you've done that around a few times, you get drop the third finger. And we're on the very last little lick, so it comes to the 11th fret here. And that's it. In the background you hear it's kind of up here. But the kind of outro lick here is essentially done with these notes. So you get the and we're done. One of the hardest solos ever. I've tried to tab it out for you, so if you want the specifics, you can learn how to play them by slowing it right down and gradually increasing the pace of it. That was a tough lesson. I hope you enjoyed the very slow run-throughs of that. Check out some of the other content we've got for you, some of the other lessons. Thanks for watching our Appetite for Destruction playthrough. We've done side A. Like and subscribe, and we'll carry on with side B of the album. But in the meantime, take it easy, have a break. We'll see you soon.